All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. So it's been, this is gonna be like part 2 of the video. A few days ago, I gave you an introduction of what's gonna be done this weekend. I did some of the coolant hoses and started getting a little bit of the car back together. But my dad is coming over here in a little bit here, and we're gonna try to get the rest of this car back together, if not all of it, pretty close to be completely done. Obviously I don't have the wheels left. The wheels are still, I still don't have the wheels here, so still waiting on those to get done. So obviously won't be able to drive it or anything like that. But hopefully in this video, we'll get first startup. If everything goes well, but you know how that goes. Not everything works well. So we'll see. But we have the completed intake manifold. We got the completed intake manifold here, looking really good. I put some ceramic coating on it so it looks nice and shiny. Got that ready to go. Just some lights. I got one of my carts ready to go. Have this for parts, and then this is all the remaining parts that need to be put on this car. Obviously, you know, the strut bar, that was already on the car. I just got to put it back. Got some coolant. Couldn't find any Motorcraft green, so I went with some Presto Max. I guess this should be all right. We got some valve cover bolts. Got the BBK cold air intake, which we're gonna modify a little bit here. If you see here, that is a carbon fiber piece. I am not running mass air anymore. It is speed density now with Holley. So we have the BBK 70mm throttle body. We got the blackout induction system. We're gonna modify that a little bit, so hopefully we don't have to use the mass air anymore. Then I did the, like I told you, SVE steering wheel. That's already ready to go. I have the stock one here just in case if we gotta adjust some stuff over on that one. I also did these really nice black Ford Racing valve covers. I wanted to be able to have 2 baffles for breathers and stuff like that, so that's why I did it that way. But as you can tell, the garage is already ready to set up. It is raining outside, so I put the ST outside so we have more room over here in the garage to work. But not sure how much we're gonna film of it. Might give you a little bit of updates and stuff like that as we go, but I just want to try to get this done. But we will do a full overview once the car is completely done, and at that time I'll come back, explain to you what we did, what we didn't do, what we had troubles with, stuff like that. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in a little bit. So it's been a few days since my last checked in, and as you can tell, car is 98% the way done. As you can tell, we have the upper Cobra intake on, looking great. We have the BBK 70mm throttle body on. This is just a temporary setup for the intake right now. I bought the full blackout kit from BBK. I don't think I'm going to use it as how it came to the box, just because I have a Holley on it and I don't need the mass air and everything like that. So I'm trying to eliminate parts I don't need. So what I'm going to do here is I bought a different filter. This is the one that came in the kit. Would probably work. It's a little too loose, so it doesn't get a good fitment, because I think this is a 3.5-inch opening. This is a 3. So I bought a K&N filter, cone filter style, that was like a 3-inch, so it would fit properly. So it'd probably come out to about right here. Yes, I know everybody's just saying in the comments, oh, it's a warm air intake, all this kind of stuff. Well, this is just a temporary setup for right now until I figure out what I want to do. Ideally, you would like to have it in the firewall, or I'm sorry, in the fender well here, like it comes from the factory. But that might be something I do next winter or something like that. I just want to get this car running, be able to enjoy it. So I think I'm gonna just do this setup for now. I might get this pipe here. I was trying to think about it today at work. This is the other pipe that goes onto the mass air. I might try to cut this flange off and maybe try to work something in there to have it closer to the fender, but I'm not sure. But anyway, we got the MSD cap on. Obviously, I already had the ignition. I got the Mishimoto hoses on, and that's kind of what the problem is right now. So the car does start. I had it started last night. We plumbed up. I figured out a way to reroute the PCV system. I have this the tube coming into my breather over here because the way my valve train is, the rockers will hit with the stock valve covers. So we have some Summit valve covers here. I did order and I did buy the Ford Racing ones. It will not work with my setup because I have this bigger alternator on it. So it was rubbing in some areas. So we could have massaged it a little bit to get it to work, but I didn't want to screw up the valve covers. So right now we're just gonna be running the ones that were already on it, which they work fine. Now that we were able to hook the PCV system back up to a way that it's gonna be filtering back in all the blow-by and everything, we should have no problem. But obviously we're gonna have time will tell to see exactly if that's gonna work. I started up, it ran good, but we have a little bit of a coolant issue, coolant leak, just over here, down in here, right underneath the thermostat housing. There is this little tube right here. We had to cut it to fit, and I think we cut it on an angle a little bit because there's no room to cut it. So I think it's leaking a little bit out of that hole in the bottom. So it's on this bottom one right here. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna try to take it back off, try to trim it up a little bit if I was able to do that. If not, I have the one that came off of the car, which is this Goodyear hose, but it worked. So until I have time to fix it and get a little better hose, that's just the way we're gonna have to do it. Hopefully I can fix it with this Mishimoto one, but if not, I'll just put the other one back on, no big deal, and run it like that. It's not gonna be any issue. But other than that, car run good. I have no airbag light or anything like that. We did put the steering wheel back on. So the new SVE steering wheel is in place. Obviously the airbag's not put in all the way yet. I wanted to make sure I had no lights on or anything before I put it back together. I still have this piece here for the underneath of the shroud. I have a couple other pieces I gotta put back on, cluster bezel and stuff like that. But I just wanted to make sure I had no lights on, and it was very happy. But like I said, got it to start, fired right up, no problems, and had no fuel leaks, no nothing to that sort, just that little bit of a coolant leak. Obviously there's some stuff in here I need to tie up. I'm gonna get some zip ties in here. This is all just part of the Holley harness that some of the connectors and stuff you don't use on every application. So like I said, I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna try to get some like wire tuck or something like that and sleeve it so it looks a lot nicer. But big thing is it's running and it seems happy. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this hose off, take it and see if I can cut it back down. And then what we'll do after I get done here, we'll start it up, see if there's no coolant leaking. I already put 1 gallon of coolant in the car. It went up to the reservoir, so once it cycles more, I only got it to maybe 90 degrees, and then I shut it off because it started leaking coolant. So didn't run it for too long, but we're getting there. Big step forward. And I just talked to Rim Pros yesterday, people that have my rims, and they said they should be done pretty soon. They're having a little bit of trouble with the aluminum. It was kind of having some weird spots in it and stuff, so they were getting, had to keep redoing them to see if they can get rivet. But I said, you know what? These aren't not going to be perfect. I don't know how long these wheels have been on the car, so I just I think it'll look fine. They're inside the barrel of the car, of the wheel, so these are such deep dish wheels that I have that it's not going to be very big of a problem. And I'm not looking for perfection here on this car. Just want it to look nice. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go over here, get this situated, see if I can use that hose. If I can't, I'll put the other one back on and see if we have any more leaks. All right, so the hose is on. I had to, where's the other hose? I had to use the original hose that I had. Oh, here it is. Just because I tried cutting this a little bit more and then I ended up being too short. So we got the original Goodyear hose on the car. So what I'm gonna do now is start it up and see if it leaks anything. So we'll go from there. If it does, I'll bring you in as soon as I start it. So let's hook the battery back up. I gotta tighten that down, but it works for what I need it for right now. I think I'll probably clean up some of that coolant a little bit there. It's just a little bit of coolant that dropped. So, all right, let's fire this thing up and see what it does. I don't see any coolant coming out of it. Looks like we're all good. So I'm gonna let this cycle a little bit. I'm gonna let this cycle a little bit. I'll come back to you and I might add some more coolant. All right, everybody, it's been a couple days later. Where we left off was the car was running and we were seeing if we had any more leaks. I fixed the hose, this one here, that we were initially talking about. Fixed that one, then I end up seeing I have a little bit of a leak right here at this little Allen key. Then looks like this coolant sensor here, the one right here with the brass fitting, looks like it's got a little bit of a leak. So I went to the trusty Amazon and I ordered me a Tekton 27 millimeter wrench. Supposedly that is the right size for this. Hopefully that's it, because this wrench was ridiculously expensive for no reason. And let's see if we can get in here. Let's get this a little tight. And of course this is going to be a pain, but let's see here. All right, I think I'm gonna mess with this a little bit, but anyway, this coolant hose is, the little sensor is leaking a little bit, and it looks like this injector right here is spraying a little bit of fluid or fuel. So hopefully I can loosen up this fuel rail here and be able to seat the line a little bit better. Hopefully I can wiggle the fuel rail a little bit and be able to seat it down a little bit more. Hopefully that's just the problem. Worst comes to worst, I gotta take the upper back off and mess with the injectors a little bit. It's not a big deal. Just, you know, those pesky little leaks and stuff like that when you're putting the car back together, but we'll get it going. So I'm gonna mess with this coolant sensor a little bit right now. I'm gonna tighten up that Allen and see about the fuel rail. And also, we went over to Amazon as well. I got some plugs. As you can tell, I rigged up a little bit of that. Oh, you haven't even seen the intake as well. Right here, there's a little sensor hole that I don't need anymore for this tube. The new K&N filter did come in. So this is pretty much the setup, I believe, for the intake. It's just gonna be something simple. I know it's gonna be like a warm air intake, whatever you guys wanna call it. But like I said, I think this is gonna be a nice simple setup for right now. Get the car running. It seems fine. I haven't started up with the new filter on it yet, but we're gonna get an actual plug in there. Got a nice kit from Amazon. I think it was only about maybe 10 bucks, something like that. Came with a ton of plugs. So hopefully we have one that's gonna fit in that hole. I think we should be okay. Then I went over there and got a couple of these fittings here, just some brass fittings for the little vacuum area over here. I have it teed off right now, but it's just got some, you can see right in here, it's just got a small T in there, so I'm gonna get one that's actually for a 3/8 hose. And then it came with some small worm clamps, so I'm gonna do that. Get that a nice tight fit so it doesn't leak. Then we went over and I got a 10-foot, these are little band clamps for this. I got a 10-foot of the wire tuck. So this looks like it's just, you tuck the wires and it's just Velcro and you can cut it to length. And then looks like there's some wire ties and stuff like that to keep it secure. Something real cheap. It was probably about, I think, 20 bucks for that roll. So we're gonna try that out. I'm gonna try to get all these wires nice and tucked over there as well. Maybe some of these here. Just get it nice and try to get a little bit neater. There's a lot of harness in here for the Holly, and then you still got to use some of the factory harness. So it's just kind of a little messy, and it's not something I like. So we're gonna try to clean up a little bit while we have the car apart. And this intake is very simple. I could just take these two clamps off, or I can take, you know, it's not too difficult to do. So might as well do it now while it's all apart, or it's easily accessible. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get working on that. And obviously we got the crocodile cloth here. We're gonna try out some of their stuff here. I got a lot of stuff going on. Hopefully the wheels will be done tomorrow. I was told today is Friday, July 10th. So hopefully the wheels will be done tomorrow. I can pick those up, throw those on the car. Well, actually I take them back. I'll pick them up. I'm gonna ceramic coat them, and then we'll throw them on the car. So, and then obviously this thing needs a serious wash. It's very, very dusty. So let's get going on this, and I'll bring you back in after I'm done. All right, well, I'm back. I tightened that hose as much as I could, or the sensor as much as I could. Not sure if it fixed it. That one, I got quite a bit of turns on that Allen key there. But I took one of the bolts off the fuel rail, tried to see if I could snug it back up, but started the car up again and it just started shooting fuel out. So as much as I don't want to, I'm gonna have to take the upper back off and at least take the cables off the throttle body and see if I can get to that rail and see if I can move it, or see if one of the O-ring swelled or rolled or whatever. I might just say, we'll see what it goes, but I'm gonna get this manifold off and get back to you. All right, I decided to change up plans a little bit tonight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do that wire tuck sleeve for tonight. I don't feel like taking the manifold off today. No, it's not. Actually, I don't want to get into taking that off tonight. It's getting late, and I would like to get inside the house at a reasonable time tonight. So I'll mess with that another time. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna fold this over so I don't have to pop that off because it was a pain to get that on. I did put a little plug in, as you can tell, a little plug here. Hopefully it works. If not, I'll figure something else out. But what we're gonna focus on right now is I'll put you down here. So this is what we're gonna focus on, is all the wires and everything in this area. So I'm going to take the stuff here that I showed you, the little 10-foot roll. I'll take it in here, kind of get an idea how long I might need. So figure out how this is going to be best. So let's cut this little portion out right now. Sure what happened to my scissors. Figure on this tool cart over here. The bad part about doing this project in many days, you have parts and tools laying all over the place. So I'm gonna lay that in the car. So I'm just gonna take this. From what I understand, I've never used this stuff before, but I might have to do this in many strips here. I thought this was a little wider because this is a pretty meaty harness here. That's what I want to do. Nothing's working out tonight. It's usually how it goes. You're trying to get things done. So, wondering here, there's so much stuff. I mean, I love the Holly, but my God, is there a lot of wires. So, yeah, it's not gonna work out like I wanted it to. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to do a couple wires at a time to make this work. So, this is not gonna look perfect, that's for sure, but look a hell of a lot better than what it looks right now. So, let me try to figure out what I'm gonna do here, and I'll get back to you. All right, so I kind of figured something out here. So I did just wrap this around these wires here, tuck it back a little bit, put a couple zip ties to hold it. Like I said, it's not gonna be perfect. Keep some of the heat off of these. Not that it really gets, well, there is the header right here, right there, so. But I think what I'm gonna do with this too, I might get some heat wrap that up. It's not gonna hurt and probably help seal this up a little bit more. But I think that's all of the big connector. I was gonna try to see, this is kind of all tightened up and out of the way. I'll see what I can do with that. But I think that might be all I'm gonna do with the wiring for now. And I can always do more later. This light fell. Not sure what else I'm gonna do yet tonight. Probably going to maybe wrap up this video here coming up soon. I'm gonna have to come back in here at another time and mess with the injector. Like I said, I'm gonna have to come back another time and mess with the injector. Running out of time. As you can see over here, it is getting dark. I don't have my watch on me, but I think it's probably 9 o'clock, around that area. So I'm trying to get back inside here. We just put my son down for the night, so spend time a little bit with my wife. Tomorrow, I think what I'm going to try to do is try to wash at least the ST and then maybe my truck outside there. They're both extremely dirty. I'm not sure what else I'm going to do. Hopefully I can get these wheels back to this car. That'd be great, because I can at least put those on, get those coated. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of more progress coming. Probably get some of this heat wrap. I'll get that ordered up. I could probably just take that hose off just so I could take the intake off. And that way, engine bay is... I'm gonna slide this back on for now. Just slide it in place, just so I can get the hood back on. Not gonna tighten up, I'll just slide it back on there for now. And don't really want to take this upper off, but it's not too bad. It's just this 5 or 6 bolts here. It pops off. I'll probably just unhook it here from the throttle body, take the cables and everything off, and then lift the whole throttle body up with the manifold. And then I can be able to access that rail here. Hopefully I can just pop that rail off and look at the injectors and see. If I gotta buy new O-rings, that's fine. It's just annoying. It's one of those things. But we all have them. We all have those issues when we're building cars. It's just the last leg of the puzzle, and just the last leg of the puzzle, and it's just the little things that get annoying after a while. But this car will be done quite soon. I do have plans next Saturday to take this to a car show. So if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to get the manifold off. If I have to have my dad come over here and see what he thinks too, we can get that taken care of. And that, I believe that's the last, other than getting the wheels, obviously, that's the last ditch thing left on this car, really, is to see what's going on with this fuel injector. The fuel injectors look good. They spray fine. All the other injectors are dry. There's no other problem. It's just that one injector right in the front by the coil. Or not the coil, the rotor cap. So, it's always one. It's always one. These are 30-pound injectors. I think they're trick flow injectors, I believe they are. They were on the car when I bought it. So, worst comes to worst, if I gotta get a new set of injectors, we could do that. It's not too big of a deal. I mean, the manifold will already be off, so we can just pop the rail off, get new. So the injectors will come with new O-rings and everything like that. We'll just see. I might see. I think these are, yeah, I can't really tell. I know they're 30s, but I don't know. I believe they're trick flow, but I don't think it matters what brand. That one's a 30-pound injectors. But all right, I'm gonna end this video off. Got a good bit. I know this has been broken up in a couple days. I'm sorry about that. It's just I got a lot of stuff going on, family stuff. I've been working a good amount of bit, so trying to make some extra money at work. So I'm trying to work as much as I can. It's gonna start slowing down here in the next couple weeks, so I'll be able to pump out a little bit more content for you guys. But we're getting very, very, very close to the 10,000 sub mark, and I really do appreciate all the support. Never did think it was going to get to this point. 10,000 I know is not a huge milestone, but a lot of people don't get to that point, and I really do appreciate the support. So if you can keep liking, subscribing, commenting, any type of interaction helps the algorithm a lot. And I really do appreciate it. I'm still trying to learn a lot of this YouTube stuff. Follow me on my Instagram as well. It's just CoyoteCustomz_. So follow that. You're gonna see a little bit more different stuff on Instagram than you will on YouTube. I do have a TikTok too, but I post on there every once in a while. It's just not my thing really. I like watching videos and stuff on there, but it doesn't seem like it gets much attention from me. I'm not sure why, but I think that's about it. So like, subscribe. I appreciate you staying tuned and getting a little update on the car. The next video we'll have the wheels on, hopefully the injector's fixed. Maybe next video will be the running, moving, maybe a first drive with the new setup. Thank you again. See you in the next one.